$1 million. I've had that going around in my mind since last week. I crossed a milestone on Stripe. $1 million Hong Kong transacted. $1 million Hong Kong transacted. I did a post yesterday about it and what that kind of meant for me. Because when you break down the numbers, that's about 2,250 US dollars a month. So about 20 grand Hong Kong dollars a month, which was what my old agency salary was. That's what me and my business partner were paying ourselves at the agency. And we'd capped ourselves at that income while more of the money was going back into the business, because that's what you do. Anyway, for me, one, I think crossing a million of anything is a massive milestone. So I wanted to celebrate. But I think as well, like coming into this online space and building all this stuff, we see so many of the extremes. And I think it's very easy for people to kind of disregard what bringing your skill set online actually allows you to do. Like, jumping back into freelance work after my agency and being able to reach out to people online, offer a mini service, and be able to get paid while I wasn't able to stand up and walk around. That year was actually during COVID. So not only did half the world frickin' shut down, but we ended up traveling for an entire year. My husband's clients at the time, gym, right? So all the gyms shut. A lot of people were leaving, a lot of people were traveling around that time, and luckily some of his clients moved online as well, especially with all the shutdowns and the isolation stuff. We weren't even allowed to be doing close contact things anymore. So we spent that year traveling around, and I think it was the first time either of us had ever kind of had a glimpse into what a really cool kind of digital nomad life would feel like. Obviously, there is something to not having your own space and a home base and things like. After that year, it definitely, we were ready to come home and have our own stuff and have our own space. But again, you do that with more of a budget. Holy crap. Like, Wi-Fi connection, your skill set, money can be made wherever you are. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this is the shit that I dreamed of as a kid. Being able to be your own boss, build your own income, do it in a creative way, wherever you wanted to, wherever you are. Like, you don't even need to be physically in a location anymore to be able to provide your gifts and your services and your strengths and your, what you love to other people. Like, it blows my mind. I've already seen a couple of comments come through, and I know people haven't done the math, and I know people haven't even read the post, because if you read the post, I'm not claiming that I've made a million US dollars, right? Well, I'm not claiming anything. I'm telling the fucking truth, which, to be honest, that's where I've kind of realized the best marketing lies. Do cool things, tell people what you've done, and don't lie about it. And keep going and do it again. That's it. Like, do what you say you're going to do. Create the results that you say you're going to create. I told myself when I left that agency, my sole goal was to replace my salary, because that was like, I was already living on like the edge of everything. And even in the last 4 years, it still felt a little bit like that. But I told myself, freelance salary covers what we did with the agency. So get that back. And ideally in half the time, which is what I managed to do, which already, by the way, unlocked something in my mind. The fact that I was working 6 days a week, busting my ass, if not 7, because I was always on in my head. I was always either plugged in or thinking of something or worried about something or using the weekends to catch up on something. Like, it was lunacy. It was ridiculous. We were just a mess. It's fine. It is what it is. Early business ownerships and all that sort of stuff. You've got to go through the ringer and learn all the things to go, yeah, I'm not playing that game anymore. And I think, again, that's really what it's come to as well. I said that to my husband the other week. I was like, I'm fed up of these survival games. Like, I'm ready to play a new level of game. And it was funny. It was almost like that decision when we decided to do Hyrox, that something went blip, 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 blip. And it was that decision as well. And everything that had lined it up after, getting this job on the gym floor, finding my groove with these sidekicks, actually being able to stand behind my offer and going, I'd rather wait and figure out how my copy can bring people in without changing the value of my offer, because that's where it sits. I know my value now. Now it's my job to make sure that I am creating the correct message to have people pay me for that value. That's what I'm playing with at the moment. And there's only so much forcing you can do with that. It's a testing and an iteration process. And like I said on yesterday's episode, I was then, working half the hours. That's all my freelance stuff. Bread and butter's covered. And the other promise I'd set to myself is now anything extra you need to be making with your own creations, whatever that looks like. Art, products, anything. Whatever that looks like, it's on me. It's my clients. It's my work. It's whatever work I want to do and have fun, because that's been also the element that I've been experimenting with over the last 4 years. I didn't even know what types of people I wanted to work with. Like, you start going down some of these rabbit holes and finding really cool people that you enjoy hanging around with and working with. Suddenly you open the door and you're like, whoa, where did all these cool people come from? Like, where have they all been hanging out? And they've been hanging out. They've been doing cool things with other cool people. And you don't find out about it unless you're, close enough to those circles and get kind of sucked into those little vortexes and, find them. So it is what it is. But I think with this online stuff over the last 4 years, okay, so bear in mind that 1 million to tick over on Stripe took 4 years. So again, agency salary, and not even mass agency salary, but not a lot of people can say that they've done that. Like, some people have never even made $1 online, which also kind of blows my mind when you think about how much we pay for things online. Why there's that gap of why you don't think you can get paid for things online. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense in my brain. So then backtracking a little bit, like, I think when it comes to some of this online business stuff, again, what I was saying was that you've got these big guys at the top that are making their, they've got their mass communities, they've got their big things, they've got their whole machine that's working, they've got their all the distribution, all the followers, all the stuff, and it's easy to sometimes be a little bit put off with that because you're like, oh, I don't really feel like I need to, and it's like, no, you don't. A lot of people don't need to do all of that. A lot of people don't need to chase the 300, 400, 500. Like, those are also different metrics that come as a byproduct of you doing a certain amount of work within your stuff. But some of those metrics also come from a volume play that a lot of creators go through in their iteration process in order to get their content out and find their audience. So, but there are accounts out there with less than 2,000 followers that are making more than some of the accounts out there with 100,000 followers, and I know that for a fact. And so again, I find it really funny when you start flashing these like Stripe things, but it's not even about the Stripe things. I've always wanted to be able to give myself and I've wanted to be able to show that I have proof of the income that I'm building, because that means that you're doing the work that you say that you're doing. This skill of being able to create something of your own, put it out into the public and get an income back of it. I don't know, that's pure alchemy to me. Creating something from nothing, that's pure art, that's pure life, that's pure creation. Like, that is creation to me. And when we're set up in this way that we all have the ability to do that, I think that's where my passion comes in, where I like to help people tell their story and figure out what weird way they would like to create an income from. And again, stop reaching so far for the big money, because I remember that even put me off for a couple of years. The first few years I dived down this rabbit hole after the agency were stuck on the first damn question, what are my values? Took Danco's digital economics. That was one of the first courses I took to look into actually building my own kind of, I guess it is semi-influencer, but the personal brand side of things, and starting this cycle of testing, experimenting, solving a problem, packaging that problem, delivering it to certain clients, making sure they also get the same result or the result that is promised, money exchanged, people happy, carry on, next thing. Like, again, we really like to overcomplicate this, and I think it's very easy to push this milestone away going, oh yes, I can make millions, or I can make hundreds of thousands. It's like, how about right now you just cover rent or your phone bill for next month? And this is where, like, I've now come so far back the other way that I almost say to my clients, quicker than I used to. Like, what's the most ludicrous way we could make money right now with the skills that you've got and the things that you've done and the ideas that you've got in your head? What's something that's like a really stupid way that your brain's kind of like, no? Because if you can show yourself that that can happen, I don't know, I just think everything else starts to shatter around it. Like, even in my brain, crossing that 1 million mark, I don't know what it's done, but seeing it, and I know it's in Hong Kong dollars, I know it's not US dollars, but I've watched over the last 4 years, I've watched regular people like me start to create content online, start to go through this process, start to serve clients, start to serve others, start to make digital products, and they've gone from making $1 million in 4 years to making $1 million a year. The agency I work for is now at $2 million annual recurring revenue. That's from a dude that started on his laptop in, while he was still working a full-time job. Core team of 5, he's building his own plot of land on, in Alabama. We've got 10 acres, building a house for his family. Like, this is happening to real life people. Another lady then, after, it was like a year later after that as well, I saw somebody then hit $1 million month. I was like, oh, that's possible. And then if you're any type of creator, and if you haven't been living under a rock, Jessie Jean with the App Challenge, she just made $4 million US in about 30 days doing this challenge, opening cohort 1 and 2. Her first cohort, her first launch of that challenge made $1.4 million in a day. I'm going to take a sip of my tea while you sit with that for a second. And that's $1 million US in a day. That's about 8 million Hong Kong dollars. Internet money is real. It's not going away. It's only getting more and more creative. And there are only becoming more and more platforms that you could build on. And also, what's funny, what I find really interesting is that a lot of the people that are a bit poo-poo about the online stuff technically have the offline network to build something online and sell it offline. They don't even need to do the social media posts. They don't even need to do the stuff. They're usually a pillar of their fucking community that if they turned around and was like, oh, actually, let me make something that's useful to the mums in this group or to the community in this group. Bloop, 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 bloop. Here's a payment link. Send the link into the group chat. Dong, 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 dong. Like, what are we doing here? It's very interesting. But anyway, I was very proud of that 1 million milestone. And again, something in my brain, I was like, I'm going to see that number again. I'm going to see that number a lot of times, and I'm going to see that number come up quicker and quicker and quicker. Like, I remember telling my man 4 years ago when I did dive down the Danco rabbit hole, and I was, seeing Kieran Drew on the beginning of his, compound graph that goes up, and I met Clifton and Brett and all these guys before everything starts to go like this. And I said to him, I was like, if I just stay on this course and I just do the thing and I do the work, this will also happen for us. This will also happen for me. And it was amazing, like, to see that now I'm getting to that point of the graph where I then delayed the rest of my process. Was I thought I was being brave. I thought I was putting myself out there. And yes, I was posting. I'm not going to, give myself shit for that. But I was not taking the time to ask for the ask, to ask for the follow, to ask for the subscriber, to ask for the income, to ask for the this, to ask for the that. I kept waiting. Dude, where are you going to knock my... Knock it. I love that he just like sitting right there so that he has to walk past the damn camera stand. Anyway. What was I saying? I don't remember. Clearly it wasn't that important. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the more often I think about this and the more often I like chat to people that are really not happy with where they are, like, it's really not going to take a lot to make an extra couple $100 a month. Start with that. Like, we are now living in a world where people transact online. You've just got to turn one element of something that you do, even if you're working a full 9 to 5. What's some element of that job that you could see could be done better, or could be turned into a training, or could be taught to others? Do that. I think this stuckness of picking one thing, and what the one thing you get to, and again, I'd like circling it back to the personal brand, because then the one thing you get to pick is you at all given points. You don't have to actually pick a thing. You are the thing, and because humans are multifaceted things, we're allowed to do multifaceted things. I remember the first time I heard one of my mentors say, you're allowed to have a lot of offers. And then you hear other people going, oh, if you have too many offers, it confuses your audience. And then I've got my mentor going, well, are your audience stupid? Are you treating them like they're idiots? Because that's who's going to show up. Or don't be surprised when that's who shows up if you're treating your audience like a fucking 5-year-old. You can give them a menu of things. They can engage brain. They can decipher what is for them and not for them. Discernment. Adult. Treat them like adults. Adults will show up. It's that weird... Yeah, it's very odd. Very odd, the relationship between what you can build online, what you're taught versus what happens, versus all these numbers, and people saying, oh, I can make $1 million in a day. It's like, yeah, Jesse Jean made 4 million in a couple days or a month or whatever. But that was 6 months of posting in the making, plus years of bodybuilding training and standing in front of camera before that, to get to the point where she was even then starting her own Yap videos and doing her own projects and having enough of the confidence to get out there and go, no, I'm drawing a line in the sand. I'm going to be the one that makes a difference. I'm going to be the one that does it for my family. I'm going to be the one that goes through the cringe, that does the hard things, that sits in front of camera, that, that does it. And now she is getting the rewards. Like, well done. Like, how can you fault that? Go do it. Go do it for yourself. And I think this is where so many people stay stuck in their own little things. And I know, again, I did for a long time with that agency, because I thought this was the only way that you were able to scale yourself out of something. And the only way to do it was to work yourself into the ground, to be able to build enough space to be able to breathe, to be able to figure out the next problem. And it's like, whoa, we like suffocated ourselves and tried to expand at the same time, and we were allowing ourselves to only pick on clients that we were way over delivering for way not enough money. Like, we already hadn't done the math correctly. Like, we got to the point where we couldn't outsource our own frickin' time for freelancers. It was too expensive. Oops. Do the math. Find a mentor that can help you do the math. I don't know. We all like to think we're very clever going into business for ourselves, and it's one thing to give yourself just another self-employed job and stay within your realms. It's a whole nother thing to build a business and an empire that actually houses other people and has that machine that's working, where people are actually treated well, and it's doable. It's doable. I haven't done it yet. It is on my list of things to do. I plan on owning a lot of businesses. I do not plan on being part of the operations. I plan on learning how to hire the right people, learning how to put things together, because I know how I want people to be treated, and I know businesses can function when they treat their employees well. There's this weird thing that we've gone into where I don't know, where companies keep deciding to suck the life out of the people that are working for them, especially nowadays. If anything, if you're running your own business and you have 10 plus employees, you need to be figuring out employee retention and happiness and fulfillment and purpose, because if that's not happening, unless you're able to be replacing sections of things with AI properly, you like, people will go somewhere else. The options are going to become, it's going to become less risky to go and build your own thing, which I still think now is the case. Like, I still think now, in this really turbulent time, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to shut down. We don't know who's going to argue with who. We don't know who's going to turn around and say something that somebody else doesn't like, and then everything's going to close. I mean, even some of my scheduling tools are already changing. Like, some of the clients that I work with from previously that I still help distribute some of their content over onto other platforms. Like, X's APIs have changed. Hype Fury is no longer connected to X. I'm now having to... I had posts that weren't firing the other day, and it's like, whoa. people can just change their minds. These platforms are free, technically, right? So, but building a business and building a network, the fundamentals are the same. And do it. Do it now. Like, oh, I don't know. Just do it in a way that's fun for you. This is why I think I keep trying to bring it back to the fun, because if you can start to have fun at the beginning, the fun escalates a lot quicker. Well, it escalates at the same rate as the shit, but I would rather be sitting in a whole heap of fun than a whole heap of shit, to be honest. Like, I take that any day. Yeah, I am proud of myself for that milestone. Keeping my agency salary for the last 4 years, being able to work half the hours while I recover. Like, I even look at some of the videos, I can see it in my face. Like, I look different. I feel different. I feel like a new person. I feel like a different woman. I'm married. I'm a friend. I've been through a lot more. I've been through more of those trials and tribulations, minus just the spine injury and the solo pain that I was in for that. Like, I've put myself out there. I've worked with others. I've got fucked over. I've made a mess. I've had to hire people. I've had to let people go. We've built the office. We've let the office go. Like, that heartbreak of going through the building and the destruction. I used to think about the F&B guys in Hong Kong all the time. I was like, how some of these guys have the gumption in them. Maybe gumption isn't even the word. It's the wrong word, but that's the word that came to mind. But just that get up and go to be able to get a new space open, get it ready with that excitement, do the launch, and then 2 years later the landlord's raising the rent and you're not really making anything, and it's like, and close. Watch so many friends go through that cycle. And with brilliant bars as well, like in Hong Kong, brilliant places, but just the rent, the number, the price of eating out, the costs, food, F&B is a whole nother beast in and of itself. Like, oh, blows my mind. That's why I choose the online and these digital assets and stuff, and coaching and consulting right off the bat, because it's not, you don't need to have real estate, you don't need to have property. It's not the brick and mortar version of anything. So yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I'll leave you guys with a little story, actually. I think this one's been coming up in my mind the last few weeks, and I haven't been sure when I want to tell it, but I feel like I want to tell it today. It's my siblings and I. I just remember this vividly when we were kids, and it kind of ties into just when you decide you want something, make a plan. Make a plan and execute the plan. My siblings and me and my sisters. Brother wasn't with us yet. This was in Game Boy eras. We all had our Game Boys that we'd play with at night. I think Danny must have been 6. I must have been 8. Sam must have been 10. Yeah, we're 2 years apart. 6, 8, and 10. Otherwise, it was 8, 10, and 12. Maybe we were a little bit older because we were scheming at this time. So, anyway, around those ages, and it was bedtime. Playing our Game Boys. Mum and Dad had come in and they'd taken our Game Boys away because we weren't going to sleep. We were staying on our Game Boys. So, problem. All 3 of us, wide awake. We all shared a room. Me and Danny had a bunk bed on one side. Sam had a bed on the other side of the room. So a lot of the times I'd be leaning over the top and we'd all just be having a chat for a while, which was hilarious. And we devised a plan that we wanted to get our Game Boys back. So in our house, we had this amazing government house when we were growing up, but the corridor and the back bedrooms were shut off by a main door to the living room, so it was closed off. That was when Mum and Dad could have their quiet time in the evenings and watch TV and chill without the children. On the other side of the living room was the kitchen, so you could walk along in and out. Now, the 3 of us had devised a plan. First, we needed to locate the Game Boys. All right? So they sent me out first. I went through the living room, yawn, into the kitchen, got some water, went over, said goodnight, came back in. Phase 1 complete. I knew where the Game Boys were located. We had Mum and Dad sitting in the sofa, kind of an L-shaped TV over there. The Game Boys were on the table in between both of the sofas. Okay, but Dad was facing the TV. Mum had her back to the Game Boys, facing the TV. So technically, it was out of sight-ish. We just had to get Father to rotate a little bit more. So the plan that we devised. Danny was going to go give Mum a hug, distraction number 1. Sam was going to go give Dad a hug, distraction number 2. I was going to sneak in behind the back of the sofa because I'd already gone and said goodnight. grab the Game Boys and go sneak back into the other room. And then they were going to come back. And all three of us were just going to celebrate. Anyway, we pulled this off without a hitch. It was brilliant. All executed amazingly according to plan, and we thought we were geniuses. Spent the next couple of hours playing Game Boys, having a whale of a time, and I remember talking to our parents years later about that night. And they just laughed at us. They were like, yep, we knew. But we realized, but we thought it was so clever what you guys had devised as a plan that we allowed it to slide for a couple of hours. Because again, we heard the main living room door opening for them to come and check in on us. And so it was like, hide under the covers, Game Boys, everything away. Just, so I don't know. Maybe I've had it in me. Maybe we were just raised a different way, watching spy movies and action movies. And like, there's always a plan. There's always a way to get the thing. There's always a way to, I don't know, do the thing. There's always some creative way. And if there's something that you want to get or something that you want to do, you know, if you're not where you want to be yet, that's the first step. Who do you have to be to then become the thing that then gets the stuff that you want? That's why, again, I point it back into you. Take care of yourself. I signed off my email yesterday with just a simple thing, like, if you are stuck, if you are frazzled, there is nothing else you can do except give yourself 2 weeks to look after yourself. 14 days. You can be a new person. If every nanosecond of your free time went, instead of into worrying, instead of into phone scrolling, instead of just into TV, like, watch the TV but do the stretching on the floor. Do the stuff, and both. You know, we've had this conversation before as well. It's like, and both. You don't have to be fully healed before you do that. And you don't have to be a fucking guru to make, you don't have to be anything to make your own income that you want to online as it stands. Case in point, I was recovering from spinal fusion surgery. We were traveling around the world. We were all over the fucking place, and I managed to still earn my salary while that was happening and feel like I wasn't working. I felt like I wasn't working. Like, it's blowing my mind that now my old base salary, so crossing this $1 million a month, again, it's ticked into me that it's like, okay, so now I'm making that and it feels like a walk in the park. Like, what's next? What's possible now? Like, let's bring this fun. Let's bring this, like, let's do it. Like, let's see. Let's see. Because if you can have achieved that as a mess, now you are much less of a mess. Go for it. Go for it. But take care of yourself first, please, because the next bit becomes so much more fun when you're feeling strong and you're feeling confident. I mean, man, again, and I'm so glad I took this job on the gym floor because it's just, I'm seeing it in real time. Like, as much as I love my online clients and I've seen their progressions, I don't see them as often as now I'm seeing these guys online. And the week-to-week difference of training, of coaching, of sticking to your word, of doing something to take care of yourself. Everything else ripples out of how you are feeling and how you are operating in this world. And when you are operating under a cloud of crap, it is no fun. It is no fun. You have no sense of humor and you become the fun sponge. And everything else that you attempt to go and have fun with very quickly becomes very serious again. And then you become the not fun person in the room. I don't know, because I've done that for the last 4 years. All right? The frustrations are there. I get it. I get it now. And I get it why mentors just want to shake the students sometimes. It's like, oh. But, you can't do somebody else's healing. You can't heal for them. They have to learn their own lessons. They have to learn how this feels. They have to learn how trippy it is to trick yourself and glitch yourself out of your own mind and your own thinking and your own worry and your own crap. It's just so much crap. So much crap. So much crap. Well, I've enjoyed this chat. I got a couple of hours now before I head into town, catching up with some girlfriends this afternoon, which is amazing. And then I've got a nice chunk of time to hunker down in a coffee shop somewhere and get my client work done before going to a pub quiz this evening. So, a bit of a late one, something a bit different, but you know what's nice? Getting out of Groundhog Day. Doing something different. Just change it up, even a little bit. even a little bit, and go just do something fun for yourself. Because it's never going to be a good time. So yeah, those are my stories today. Crossed $1 million Hong Kong dollars and the Great GameBoy Heist. Oh, I'm going to have to talk to my sisters about that one. That was so much fun. I don't know about you guys, but we had ours. Danny had a clear purple Game Boy, so you could see all the wiring and stuff inside. That was brilliant. I had a yellow one, and Sam, our older sister, had a teal green one. Beautiful. I think one of my favorite games was the Bugs Bunny game and the Ninja game. Sam's was Bomberman, which is brilliant. We've now got a little Game Boy PlayStation-y thing here. I need to start playing again, actually. We've got some of all those old Street Fighter games, and yeah. Ah, I miss when tech was just other things and not all one thing in one device. Anyway, go after it, guys. Make a plan. Execute the plan. Complete the plan. And if you need somebody to plan a plan with or plan a heist for your life, call me. That's what I do. Professional brainstormer. I'm going to have that back in my bio. I put that at the beginning and it was too abstract, but creative ideas. I like coming up with the damn creative ideas. Want to get yourself out of somewhere with a little bit of flair? Let's sort it out. Nothing is too difficult to unsolve. It's only then the length of time it might take that is different. Honestly, it really is. But the next 5 years are going to pass anyway, and the world out there is looking a whole lot of uh-oh. So have fun with this. Enjoy. Just start, earn your first dollar. Earn your first dollar. See what that does to your brain. If you don't like it at all, don't do it. But don't shit on it if you haven't even earned your first dollar. Because if you can earn a dollar online, you can earn $1 million. If you can earn $1 million, you can earn 10, 20, 30, 40. Like, the sky is the limit. Or as Shoshana Raven's book says, the limit does not exist. Cheers.